Last week's WWE SmackDown episode was absolutely star-studded. The numbers reflect this, and one has to believe that the company will want to continue the momentum this week as well. One doesn't let the steam fizzle out when they're doing things right. No, in fact, it makes sense to pack the follow-up show with surprises as well, so that there's no reason for the audience that's been hooked to drop off. Here are 5 surprises that could indeed make WWE SmackDown a very fun show. Feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts in the section below. Number 5. Parker Boudreaux makes his WWE SmackDown debut as Paul Heyman's new muscle. There have been many comparisons made between Parker Boudreaux and Brock Lesnar owing to their physical stature. Now that Paul Heyman is caught quite literally between a rock called Brock and a hard place called the Bloodline, he may need an ace up his sleeve. Luckily, there's a monster waiting in the wings to be called up to make an instant impression on WWE SmackDown. The name Harland has been bestowed upon Boudreaux, and one has to believe that there are big plans for him. It was Paul Heyman who put him over a long time ago, and let's face it, a young upstart needs his help far more than Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns do. Imagine learning on the job from the Usos, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar. Some really talented individuals like Dominic bypass the NXT system, and this could be the case with Harland as well. We all know that we want to see a Brock Lesnar vs Harland match at some point owing to their similarities. Could we see this fresh new face debut on WWE SmackDown? Number 4. Asuka arrives on WWE SmackDown and steps up to Lynch. Asuka could be traded to WWE SmackDown in place of Big E, who went to Raw. It makes sense for her to add a sense of excitement to the brand instead of sitting on the sidelines as part of the Raw roster. Yes, there is certainly a story to be explored between Asuka and WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch. Remember when Lynch relinquished the championship she held to Asuka when she stepped away to focus on becoming a mother? Number 3. Naomi, frustrated with Sonya Deville, takes out Bianca Belair. Even Naomi, the ultimate babyface, is bound to snap at some point if she's overlooked so often. She has been asking for opportunities time and time again, and Sonya Deville has just been brushing her off. To prove her point, it is quite possible that Naomi takes out her ire and her frustration on Bianca Belair. It will make her a top WWE SmackDown heel who could take on the strong babyface roster, Liv Morgan, Shotzi, Knox, in due time. Number 2. Sasha Banks returns to WWE SmackDown and inserts herself into the title mix. Sasha Banks was backstage at WWE SmackDown recently, but the creative team chose not to use her for some really strange reason. It may finally be time for her to step into the title picture once again, to insert a sense of excitement to the top of the card. What's better than 2 top stars vying over the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship? 3 superstars slugging it out. Number 1. Rick Boogs asks Nakamura for a title shot. Listen, the dream of every Raw and WWE SmackDown star who steps into the company is to have gold around her or his waist. Now that Rick Boogs has won a big match against Dolph Ziggler, he may believe that his time is now. Could he ask his own partner, Nakamura, for a shot at the WWE Intercontinental Championship? This could be a slow burn storyline which, in time, could lead to one of these 2 men turning heel. But the seeds could be sown this week. Bobby Lashley lost the WWE Championship to Big E on the latest episode of Raw. Lashley defended the title against Randy Orton in the main event, but Big E cashed in his MITB contract. As per reports, Lashley might be getting his old crew back as a Hurt Business reunion might be in the works. With Big E becoming a member of the Raw roster, the New Day has effectively been reunited. If Lashley wants to take on the WWE Champion Big E in the future, it would be wise for him to have some people watching his back. And who better to do that than his former stablemates Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, as per cage side seats. There is speculation that the Hurt Business could be reuniting soon after Bobby Lashley's fall from the top of Raw's food chain. It was Benjamin and Alexander who had helped Lashley become the WWE Champion. Considering their careers have gone nowhere since being removed from the Hurt Business, it would be a good option for all 4 men to get back together again and help each other. There had been a lot of uproar when WWE decided to disband the Hurt Business despite it proving to be one of the most successful stables of recent times. The group broke up after Alexander and Benjamin lost the Raw Tag Team Championships and could not live up to the expectations of MVP and Bobby Lashley. It will be interesting to see how MVP tries to get the 2 men back on his side after having shunned them. If the crew does get back together, it would be wise to add a few new members to the group. One name that even Lashley himself wants in the Hurt Business is Keith Lee. WWE celebrated Big E's world title victory by changing its name on Twitter to Big E as WWE Champion. Bobby Lashley retained the WWE Championship against Randy Orton on this week's episode of Raw. Following the match, Big E successfully cashed in his Money in the Bank contract to win the gold from Lashley. Although Big E is a SmackDown superstar, he was allowed to appear on Raw due to his Money in the Bank victory in July. the Money in the Bank briefcase holder can choose to challenge a world champion from Raw or SmackDown at a time of their choosing. In recent weeks, the New Day member repeatedly teased during SmackDown segments with Paul Heyman that he could cash in on Universal Champion Roman Reigns. He also hinted on last week's SmackDown that he could challenge for the WWE Championship instead. Shortly before this week's Raw, Big E tweeted that he planned to cash in his contract later in the night to become WWE Champion. Following his cash-in, Big E kicked out of Lashley's spear before hitting his opponent with the big ending to win his first world title. Big E was joined in the ring by fellow New Day members Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods after his win over Bobby Lashley. The new WWE Champion said in a post-match interview that his victory was made even more special thanks to Kingston and Woods. "I think the dream for anyone in any vocation or craft is getting to do really cool things to get to the top of your craft, but to do it with your best friends," said Big E. Moving forward, the WWE Extreme Rules 2021 pay-per-view is due to take place in Columbus, Ohio on September 26. It is currently unclear if the New Day member will defend his title at the event. Gable Steveson and Brock Lesnar's training session at the University of Minnesota was arranged by Paul Heyman, as per the latter's latest comments. Paul Heyman recently spoke with TMZ about WWE's latest recruit, 21-year-old Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson. Heyman heaped praise on himself while talking about Steveson's Olympic success. He claimed that he helped Steveson win the gold medal at the Olympics. "I am personally responsible for all of Gable Steveson's right business decisions in his life and his gold medal, and his Hodge Trophy, and his NCAA Division I heavyweight championship. I had everything with Gable Steveson winning the Olympic gold medal. I arranged for Gable Steveson to train with Brock Lesnar at the University of Minnesota, which helped Gable Steveson win the NCAA Division I heavyweight championship. Then he used my strategy to win the gold medal in the Olympics," said Heyman. Brock Lesnar is one of the most successful superstars in the history of professional wrestling. Lesnar doesn't generally interact with people and stays away from the limelight. The fact that he took time out of his schedule to train with Steveson speaks volumes about what he thinks of the young gun. As for Heyman, arranging a training session with Lesnar and Steveson indicates that he believes in the Olympic star as well. Steveson recently bagged a deal with WWE and has a long road ahead of him in the promotion. Lesnar and Heyman are currently involved in a storyline on WWE SmackDown. Lesnar finally came face-to-face with Heyman and Roman Reigns on the latest edition of SmackDown. The Beast Incarnate was about to hit an F5 on Heyman, but Reigns and the Usos came to his rescue. Brock Lesnar has been at the top of the WWE food chain for a long time. The Beast Incarnate is one of the most dominant superstars in WWE today. There are very few men who can boast about a win over Lesnar, and it is believed that the company lacks believable stars who can beat him. However, it looks like the company has decided on who they plan on having Brock Lesnar pass the torch to. As per Dave Meltzer of The Observer, that's none other than WWE's recent signee Gable Steveson. The 21-year-old is an Olympic star and is reportedly personally close to Brock Lesnar as well. It's already been teased and talked about that Brock Lesnar would eventually wrestle him in a passing of the torch type moment at a WrestleMania, said Meltzer. In a recent interview, Stevenson had called Lesnar his mentor and said that it is good to have a role model like him. The young superstar believes that Brock Lesnar can teach him how to become a dominant superstar, much like the Beast Incarnate himself.